You find a zillion choices. How do you decide what to buy? Should it be a Macintosh or a PC? If it's a PC, what brand of PC? And what kind of display? How much memory? How big a hard drive? Should you get a CD-ROM? And on and on and on.
Hello guys, I hope this finds you well. I'm kind of really nostalgic tonight on the New Year's evening and just want to go on the little flashback and want you go with me. Enjoy.
Today we'll help you answer those questions as we bring together a group of experts. Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee, and with me today is Andy Reinhardt, West Coast Bureau Chief for Byte Magazine. Andy, we have two computers here, an IBM PC compatible. This is an HP Vectra, a Macintosh Centris over here. They both look pretty much alike. The question I get from someone who's buying a new computer, what should I buy, a Macintosh or a PC? How do you answer that question?
I get asked this question all the time. It used to be easier because the Mac was quite a bit more expensive than the PC, so it was partly a question of what you could afford. Yeah. But now the prices on Macs have come down so much that that's really not an issue. What you're going to do with the system is often a point that I suggest to people, but in fact, the applications are about the same for both the systems. So I really think what it comes down to is how much computer expertise you have going into it. And if you're willing to get in there and roll up your sleeves and kind of get to know the system really well, you can still get some better deals on PCs, but they are harder to use. You have to mess around with AutoExec BAT and config sys files and dip switch.
Yeah. When it comes to this part, nothing changed actually. Today we have the same problems with PCs. It's harder to take everything on the place.
And jumpers and IRQs and that sort of thing. I think with the Mac, basically everything works out of the box. Now, of course, they're trying to correct that with the PC, with the plug-and-play initiative, but that's not going to take effect until next year.
Would it depend on kind of what machines your friends have or what you have at work?
Yeah, I actually think that's an excellent point. I think a lot of times, if you know people who are using one platform or another, they're going to be able to help you out, provide you some hand-holding, teach you about the software.
Okay. Today we will help you pick a new computer, whether you decide on a Mac or a PC. Now, for many of you who already own a desktop computer, your big decision is what kind of notebook computer to buy now. And to help you, we're going to visit a CompUSA store with an expert to find out what's the best deal in a notebook computer.
There's so many notebook computers on the market. How do you determine what's the best one for you? Owen Lenderholm, senior editor of PC World magazine, says choosing a 486 processor now may save you money in the long run.
Prices have dropped so fast on them all the time that you're best off deciding what you can afford now and buying the best notebook you can for that amount of money. That way it'll last a bit longer. If you shop at the low end, it just means it'll be obsolete all that much quicker.
Screen displays range from monochrome at the low end to passive matrix color in the mid-range up to active.
Oh my God, those pictures! This is memories, man. This is memories. This is simplicity and I don't have a word. Let's go.
Matrix color at the high end.
They're really sharp and clear. You can see them from any angle. They're almost the same as looking at a regular desktop computer's monitor. They cost you about $1,000 extra, though.
Different models have different kinds of input devices. The most common is a trackball mouse that clips onto the side of the unit. But it's best to try several different ones to find out what's best for you. Battery range is another important feature to consider.
Battery lives range from about 3 to 6 hours. You can typically expect to get what the lower end of what a manufacturer claims. So if they say 3 to 5 hours, you can expect 3. If they say 4 to 6, you can expect 4. Don't count on any more than that because the chances are you won't get it. If you need more than that, buy a spare battery, keep it charged up, and then just swap it in when the time comes.
What you want your notebook computer to do should determine how much money you spend. Prices range from $1,000 to $5,000.
At the 1,000 end, we're talking a 386, 2 megabytes of RAM, 60 megabyte hard drive. Pretty low-end computer. Screen will be monochrome. You'll get a floppy drive. There's not much else that you'll get.
Floppy drives and how much megabytes of RAM?
Than that. At the high end, a $5,000 laptop, you're talking about one with an active matrix color screen, really sharp and clear, a DX250 or a DX266 processor, lots of memory, lots of hard drive space, maybe even as much as 200 megabytes. This is a computer which should rival the one on anybody's desktop.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Jonelle Patterson.
If you're thinking about buying an IBM PC-compatible desktop computer, you have lots of decisions to make. Here to help you are Lisa Bio, author of this book, How to Use Your Computer. Also with us over there, Wendy Taylor, senior editor with PC Computing and co-author of the Streetwise Guide to PCs. This is your book over here, Lisa, How to Use Your Computer. Before you can get to use it, you've got to buy it. I want to ask you about buying it. Any kind of basic rule about buying a new PC?
Well, really, there's two issues to consider. There's what you're actually going to buy, and there's who you're going to buy it from.
Yeah.
I kind of want to start with the second. I think one of the most important things, especially for people who are buying their first PCs, is you don't want to prioritize price too much. I mean, price is important. What you're really looking for is a store that has a good reputation, and particularly a good reputation for service and support. You don't want the PC to break a week later and they don't remember your name.
Or even if you can't figure something out, you want to be able to call somebody and say, help, how do I do this?
That's right.
Okay, so price isn't everything.
Price is not everything.
Okay, what about what machine you should look for?
At this point, if I were buying a new PC, I would buy a 486.
So it's a 486, not a 386.
That's right. If you're buying a used PC, you might consider a 386. But a new computer, I'd buy a 486.
Okay, what kind of 486? There's lots of different processors you can get.
It really depends on what you're trying to do. If all you're doing is word processing, an SX may be sufficient. If you're doing a lot of different applications at once and you're running Windows and you're using databases or graphics, you're probably going to want a DX or DX2.
Okay, so you go for a 486. How about the memory question? 2 megs of RAM, 4, 8, 16. How do you know what you need and how much you should spend on
Again, it depends on what you're doing. If you're going to be using Windows, and almost all of us are going to have to be using Windows whether we want to or not, you're going to want at least 4 megabytes. Don't let them sell you a 2 megabyte machine for Windows. So that's your absolute minimum, and that would really be for basically word processing and not a lot more. If you're going to be doing database applications, for example, under Windows, you're really talking 8 megs at a minimum. 16's nice. 8 would be a minimum.
All right, let's take a look at an example. We have a PC compatible over here running Windows, and maybe you should move your mouse or whatever so we can get something up on the screen. Show me what happens if you don't have enough memory in your machine.
Well, let me just show you what we're running at the moment. We've got Paradox for Windows, which is a database application. We've got WordPerfect, Solitaire, and Excel, all happening at the same time.
And the program manager's up there, of course.
Right, we're all in, they're all in
so
memory.
We're running 5 things here.
Right.
And what happens now? Now this is an 8 meg machine, right?
This is an 8 meg machine, which is borderline for all this stuff at once, and for especially for database stuff. So here we are, and I'm going to open.
We're going to launch a file, and we wait.
And this is because it's a database application, and there's too little memory and too much going on. I mean, it would be the same issue in Access or other database applications. This just really is very borderline.
So wait, access, and that's because not enough RAM.
That's right.
And dependent on the CPU also.
That's right.
All right, you've got 2 keyboards here. Let me ask you about this. A lot of people don't even think about touching the keyboard when they buy their PC, but that's pretty important, isn't it? That's what you touch.
You know, it's funny. It seems trivial, but it makes a really big difference in how happy you're going to be with the
What would the
computer.
difference be in these 2 keyboards you have here?
Well, a lot of the difference is touch and sound. So this is a more standard keyboard. It's
sort of softer touch,
it's
not a big click.
A little mushy and soft, and doesn't make a lot of noise. This is fairly standard now. This is more. This is a lot like the original IBM PC keyboard.
Yeah.
Tends to be noisier and a little stiffer, and it makes a click when you press the keys. The thing that's nice about that is you can really tell when the keys are pressed.
Yeah.
It's not a question in your mind. And people who are recently moving over from typewriters often like this feel.
Key is try out the keyboard. That's important.
That's right. Try typing.
Yeah. Lastly, real quickly, what about the display? How much money should you spend? Do you need SVGA? Do you need a real classy display, a fast video card, and so on?
Again, it depends on what you're doing. I think Super VGA would be a good place to start. You want to see the monitor running your application. You don't want to see it displaying beautiful photographs. You want to see it.
Text.
That's right. You want to see it doing what you're going to be doing. If not exactly your program, then an equivalent.
Okay, Lisa, thank you very much. I'm going to go over here and join Wendy. And Wendy, I guess if you're thinking about buying a new PC, even if you're upgrading to a new PC, you look at the ads in the paper, you look at the ads in the magazines, and I know you're interested in that field. Let's look at a couple typical ads in a magazine and tell me what the consumer should look out for. Let's take a look at this one over here. Big 2-page ad with just tons of information. What should I learn from this?
There's almost too much information here. You really ought to have an idea of what you want before you go in. And check out the ad for the things that really aren't there often, things like service, support.
This just lists a bunch of features, and it's really,
Exactly.
I don't really learn a lot from this, do I?
You do want to make sure that things that you want are included, however. Very often a monitor isn't included in the price listed.
All right, let's take a look at tab across to one of the other ones here. Okay, what about this ad?
In this case, again, look for things that aren't here. Very often, or look in the fine print, very often it's teeming with hidden costs, things like shipping and handling that aren't listed here. You also get product awards for, very often, this is not for the product that appears here. It's actually something the company has won. So that doesn't mean this isn't legitimate at all. It just means it's something you need to...
Just beware. It's sort of like looking for automobile ads, huh?
And then in this
one
case,
more ad on this multimedia PC ad.
this one offers a lot of things bundled in with the machine. Just make sure the things that are bundled are what you need.
So I get all these CDs, and maybe I don't really care. I don't need these CDs, right?
And you might try to negotiate for other things instead too.
And how about the multimedia standard? It says MPC and MPC Plus and so on. What does that mean?
Again, know what you need in terms of multimedia, whether you need sound, whether you need video, because the standards are still being hammered out.
So, so nobody really knows. They're going to say this is the standard. That's probably not true right now.
Exactly.
Okay, we're talking about multimedia PCs, and you have an example of a new multimedia PC one might have bought here with lots of goodies in it. Tell me what's in here, and how important is multimedia? That's the big buzzword. Do people need to get a multimedia PC?
Well, it depends on whether you need your system to bark at you, I guess. But this one, for example, has a sound card in it. It's got speakers. It's got a CD-ROM drive. It's also got a video MPEG playback board from Sigma Designs.
And what is that?
It plays back movies, 30 frames per second, full screen. It basically turns it into a
So without that board, you might not be able to. Show us an example. I mean, run a video for Windows Movie here, so we'll see what you're talking about.
This is an MPEG movie.
Dragon's Lair, a fantasy adventure where
that's pretty impressive stuff. I mean, that's full screen, moving video, good sound, etc.
Exactly.
Now, that's not automatically going to come with my PC because somebody says it's multimedia.
Not at all. In fact, most multimedia PCs come with merely a sound card and a CD-ROM drive. Once you get into nice speakers that actually sound good, you're adding another $500 to the price. $100 to $500. Again, with the MPEG decompression board, you're adding, another $400 or $500. So total, it's another $1,000.
So think about whether that $1,000 is really going to be something you're going to use. If you're just playing games, it's probably not worth it. Huh?
Exactly.
Okay, this is your book, Streetwise Guide to PCs, and I know one of the things you're concerned about is the thing Lisa was talking about: service and support and warranty and so on. How important is that? Sometimes we think, well, PCs don't break. I don't really care about that stuff.
Oh, it's very important. For example, you really want to be sure when you buy a system, PCs are very reliable. So you want to make sure that it comes with at least a 1-year warranty, because if a manufacturer doesn't offer it, they're probably hiding something.
And if it's going to break, it's going to break soon, probably, is what
in
you're
the first 30 days, usually, yeah.
Okay, so what do you look for in the warranty?
And, well, you want to ask, this is a warranty card, but what you really want to do is make sure that everything in the PC is covered by the warranty. Very often,
not just the motherboard or not just something
exactly.
else. Okay.
And you want to make sure that the dealer honors it directly. So you're not chasing down the company. You actually can bring it in.
And they don't say mail it back to the manufacturer, whoever that manufacturer is.
Exactly.
Thank you, Wendy. For many computer shoppers, the easiest way to buy a new PC is by mail order, either directly from the manufacturer or through one of the many mail order dealers.
You can buy a computer assembled to your specifications and loaded with your choice of software just by picking up the phone. Direct buying houses like this one, PCs Complete, carry a wide variety of brand name computers at lower than retail prices. Marty Jerome, senior editor of PC Computing, says you should think of a direct vendor's advertisement as its storefront.
You should look for the fine print. Almost every direct vendor will have some fine print in their ads. And this shouldn't deter you in itself. All vendors have to have disclaimers. But things to look for that are unfair are restocking fees, which can be 15 to 20%. Clauses that say no money back, no refunds, all purchases are final. There's subtle language like this that can take you to the cleaners.
Many direct vendors offer complete service and technical support on everything they sell.
Tech support, Joel speaking. May I help you?
Direct merchants often have highly knowledgeable sales reps, but before you make your deal, you should know exactly what you want in terms of components, power, and price. PC Computing publishes a spec watch to help you sort it all out.
We've listed all the specs that you should look for and grill your salesperson about before you buy. For example, many of us know that we want a 13 millisecond hard drive, but do you know that you want full height or half height, or that it needs to have self-parking heads and diagnostic software should be included, or that you shouldn't pay extra for the mounting rails? We've tried to list all these issues, including some red flags, things to watch out for, and that you can get charged extra for.
Never pay cash for a direct mail purchase. Credit cards are safer. And if there's something wrong with your computer when it arrives, don't wait. Return it immediately for replacement or a refund.
The onus is on you to get satisfaction, and sometimes this requires 2 or 3 phone calls when there's a discrepancy in a bill or in a purchase. And